Welcome to Elena, Storyteller, a place where novels, love stories, social psychology, and timeless sayings are retold with deep emotions. Join Elena to listen, empathize, and embark on the emotional journey of today's story. Chapter 1. An encounter on a rainy afternoon.
Mắt in Đà Lạt.
The rain suddenly poured down from heavy grey clouds. Rain in the highlands was not a violent rush but a steady drizzle, lingering, seeping, falling onto rooftops, into hearts, as if to test one's patience. The small street of Nguyen Khai Ton grew almost deserted, broken only by the occasional motorbike slicing through the curtain of rain before vanishing down the slope. Inside an old cafe named Khai Si, Memory, the yellow light glowed softly on moss-stained walls. This music hummed gently in the corner. HVY sat quietly at a table by the window, her gaze dreamy as she followed raindrops sliding down the glass. Before her was a steaming cup of hot cocoa. She touched the cup lightly, letting the warmth spread into her palms, as if seeking a fragile anchor for her restless heart. VY had just graduated with a degree in fashion design. She carried dreams away from university, but the road ahead appeared foggy. Sketches lay unfinished, the dream of starting her own brand still tucked away in her notebook, while reality proved harsher than she had imagined. The bell above the door jingled. The cafe door swung open. A young man stepped in, his coat soaked with rain. He was tall, lean but sturdy, his dark hair tousled by the wind. In his arms he clutched an old book, its cover wet and smudged, the pages sticking together. He must have hurried to escape the sudden downpour. The waiter guided him to a table near VY, since the cafe was nearly full. He hesitated briefly, then gave her a polite nod before sitting down. "Sorry," he said in a warm, slightly awkward voice. "Seems like the rain came earlier than usual today." VY looked up and met his gaze, bright, sincere, and unfamiliar, yet something in it made her heart stir. She smiled softly. "A with grave LT is like that. Rain comes without warning. I've been sitting here for an hour, thinking it would stop." He set his wet book on the table and began blotting the pages with tissues. VY glanced curiously. It was The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, a book she once knew almost by heart. "You like that one?" she asked gently. He looked up, a little surprised that she spoke first. "Yeah. I've carried it with me since college. It's old, but I keep it. It reminds me that I must be patient and keep walking toward my dreams." VY stayed silent for a moment, then smiled faintly. A warmth spread through her. Meeting someone, though a stranger, who also carried dreams close to their hearts somehow made her feel less alone. They began talking more. VY introduced herself as a recent graduate, still wandering between passion and reality. He told her his name was Min, a construction major who had just finished his final internship. "I want to become a good engineer," Min said, his eyes alight with conviction, "to build bridges and buildings. Not for fame, but to create something that will truly last." VY laughed lightly. "I'm the opposite. I just want to create dresses that are light, flowing. Maybe my dreams can't stand firmly against the weight of life." Min looked at her, his voice firm. "No. Whether it soars high or stands solid, both are beautiful. What matters is whether we dare to make them real." That simple statement silenced VY. It had been a long time since anyone had spoken of her dreams with such certainty. Outside, the rain still fell. Inside, his music lingered. One day, someday, the battles will be over. They no longer felt like strangers. Min's teacup and VY's cocoa slowly emptied, but their conversation stretched endlessly. That rainy afternoon, under the same roof, a boy and a girl, strangers seeking shelter, unknowingly let fate weave their lives together. Chapter 2. The Peaceful Days. Since that rainy afternoon, VY and Min began talking more often. At first, it was just polite messages, then gradually turned into late-night phone calls that lasted until dawn. VY soon realized that Min's warm, deep voice had quietly slipped into her every night's sleep, easing the restlessness in her heart. One Sunday morning, Min invited VY to take a walk around Shen Hng Lake. The sun was gentle, white clouds drifted lazily, their reflections mirrored in the still green water. The lakeside path carried the scent of grass and trees, while a few couples strolled hand in hand. VY wore a beige wool dress, her long hair flowing in the breeze. Min was already waiting, holding 2 cups of hot soy milk. "Here, drink this. The morning air is chilly, you'll catch a cold," Min said softly, handing her the cup. VY smiled, accepting it. The warmth spread through her palms, and at the same time, something in her heart glowed with a strange tenderness. They walked along the path. Min shared stories of his student life, working part-time to help his family, sometimes mixing concrete at night and studying until morning. VY listened intently, her eyes widening in surprise. "You did all that? I thought engineering students only buried themselves in math and technical drawings." Min laughed. "Yeah, there were times I thought I'd collapse. But when I remembered my dream, all the effort seemed worth it. You're the same, aren't you?" VY fell silent. She thought of the unfinished sketches in her notebook. Ever since she was a child, she had loved flowy dresses, but chasing the dream of becoming a designer was never easy. Even her parents had told her, "Just finish school, find a stable job, don't waste time on unrealistic dreams." She sighed softly. "My dream feels fragile sometimes. There are moments I think, I'm not strong enough to see it through." Min stopped, turning to look straight into her eyes. "No, you can. I believe that." VY was startled. His words weren't shallow encouragement, but genuine faith. His gaze seemed to ignite a flame within her, a flame she hadn't realized she needed. In the days that followed, they met more often. Sometimes they climbed Nha Bo slope together, gazing at the city fading into the mist. Sometimes they sat quietly at a small cafe called a Nyen, VY sketching away while Min read, occasionally sneaking a smile as he looked at her. One evening, after her drawing class, VY was slumped tiredly over the desk. Min arrived to pick her up, setting a hot lunchbox in front of her. "I knew you'd skip dinner. Eat, or your stomach will hurt again tomorrow." VY looked up, cheeks flushing. How did you know I skipped dinner?" Min chuckled, tapping her forehead lightly. "Who else would know, if not me?" In that moment, VY felt a sweet, unfamiliar warmth blooming in her chest. One cold night in A with Grave LT, they sat by a roadside stall, roasting corn. Smoke curled into the air, the sweet aroma of corn carried by the wind. VY took a quick bite and yelped when it burned her tongue. Min burst out laughing, quickly handing her a bottle of water. "You're so clumsy," he teased, his eyes gentle. VY gulped the water, glaring at him playfully. "And you're no better. Don't forget you spilled coffee all over my notebook the other day." They both laughed, their voices mingling with the wind rustling through the old pines. Another night, they stood atop a hill, gazing down at the Valley of Lights. Thousands of houses sparkled below like fallen stars scattered across the earth. Min suddenly asked, "VY, do you believe love can overcome every hardship?" VY was silent for a few seconds. The worries about the future, the uncertainties, the differences between them, those fears still lingered. But when she met Min's eyes, she slowly nodded. "If it's sincere enough, I believe it can." The highland wind was cold, but when VY's hand tightened gently around Min's, warmth spread through her whole being. They did not know then that these peaceful days would soon pass, making way for the trials that fate had already laid ahead. Chapter 3. When the storm arrived. Time passed quickly, like the sudden rains of A with Gravel to VY, and Min's love was still sweet, still shimmering in every moment. But then, fate began to lead them to a crossroads. One afternoon, Min received a call from a major construction company in Saigon. He had applied months ago and nearly forgotten about it. Yet that day, the company announced he had been hired, asking him to start work the following month. His heart raced. This was the opportunity he had long dreamed of, to work in a professional environment, to grow, and, most of all, to move closer to his dream of building enduring structures. But at the same time, he knew, it also meant leaving A with Grave LT, leaving VY. That evening, Min met VY at their usual cafe. The air was cool, mist settling over the city. VY walked in with a bright smile, unaware that the news she was about to hear would change both their lives. "VY," Min hesitated, his hands tightening around the coffee cup. I've been offered a job in Saigon." VY's smile froze. She was silent for a few seconds, then asked quietly, When will you go?" "Probably, by the end of this month," Min answered, his voice carrying both excitement and regret. VY lowered her gaze, nervously twirling a small spoon between her fingers. A vague fear rose within her. Saigon was so far away, hundreds of kilometers. She knew his new job would consume all his time. She feared that distance would slowly kill their love. Min reached for her hand. "I know you're worried. But VY, this is an opportunity one can't let slip away. I promise, I'll still call you every night. I'll come back to visit whenever I can. I won't let our love fade." VY looked up, her eyes brimming. She forced a smile. "I believe you. As long as you keep your word." On the day Min left Awithgrave LT, the rain poured heavily. VY accompanied him to the bus station. They stood beneath the shelter, rain soaking through her canvas shoes. Min pulled his suitcase closer, then hugged her tightly, whispering, "Wait for me." VY bit her lip and nodded. She wanted to cry, but she refused to let tears stain their farewell. The bus pulled away. VY stood watching until Min's figure disappeared into the misty rain. Her heart clenched, as if a part of herself had been carried far away. At first, distance didn't change their love. They called each other every night, sharing small stories. Min told her about his first projects, about the awkwardness of adjusting to a new workplace. VY spoke of her new sketches, her dream of opening a small shop in Awithgrave LT. But life in Saigon soon swallowed Min whole. Big projects, endless meetings, sleepless nights drained him. Some days he fell asleep at his desk, forgetting to call. VY's messages often went unread until morning. "I'm too busy, go to bed early. I'll call tomorrow," Min often texted briefly. VY lay in bed, staring at the screen that lit up and then faded. She smiled faintly, tears slipping onto her pillow. She understood that Min was trying, but loneliness was growing heavier in her heart. One night, VY texted, "Do you miss me?" It wasn't until near dawn that Min replied, "Yes. So much. But I'm exhausted. Sleep now, okay?" Clutching the phone to her chest, VY felt an emptiness no words could fill. She realized their love now faced its greatest trial, not betrayal, but silence and distance. Another evening, VY sat sketching in her room. Outside, the rain fell again in Awithgrave LT. She missed Min so deeply it hurt, her fingers trembling over his number on the screen. But she hesitated. If she called, he might only say, "I'm busy, let's talk later." Then what was the point? She set the phone down and buried her face in her hands, sobbing uncontrollably. In that moment, she knew the first storm had truly struck their love. Chapter 4: Misunderstanding and Separation. December came, bringing with it the rare chill of Saigon. Min had been working in the city for nearly half a year. He had grown used to its relentless pace, early morning meetings, late nights leaving the office. The pressure was immense, but in return, he was learning much, gaining experience, and getting closer to the dream of building the projects he had always longed for. There was only one thing Min could not manage: keeping his promise to VY. The calls became fewer, the messages shorter. He still missed her, but exhaustion left him only enough strength to send a quick line. "I'm so tired. Sleep early, okay?" Over time, an invisible gap widened between them. One weekend, VY decided to travel to Saigon. She wanted to surprise Min, and perhaps to chase away the heavy loneliness that had weighed on her for months. After a long, weary night bus ride, she arrived at the station, her heart racing with both hope and fear. She stood in front of the building where Min worked. The afternoon sun was harsh, the traffic loud and endless. She checked her watch. He would be finishing work soon. Her heart pounded faster. Then the glass doors opened. Min walked out with a young woman, elegant in her office dress. They laughed and talked, shoulders brushing, their eyes meeting with warmth. When the woman reached up to adjust Min's collar, he did not pull away. In that instant, VY's world collapsed. She stood frozen amidst the busy street, her ears ringing, her chest aching. All those nights of waiting for his calls, all the time she had held back tears to keep believing in him, now shattered into pieces. Turning abruptly, VY walked away on trembling legs, blending into the crowded stream of strangers. Min never knew she had come, never saw the thin, lonely figure disappearing quietly into the vast, unfamiliar Saigon. That night, Min called VY as usual. His voice was weary but still gentle. "VY, how was your day? I was so busy, I couldn't call earlier." On the other end, VY was silent for a long time before whispering, "Do you have something you're hiding from me?" Min was startled. "Why would you ask that?" "It's nothing," VY cut him off, her voice breaking. "I'm tired. I'm going to sleep." She hung up, clutching the phone tightly as tears streamed down her face. She didn't dare tell him she had seen him with another girl. She feared his explanation, feared her fragile heart might once again choose to believe. In the days that followed, Min called again and again, but VY never answered. She read his messages but left them unanswered. Anxiety consumed him, questions swirled in his mind, but none found an answer. One day, he left a long message. "VY, are you angry with me? I'm sorry for not caring for you as I used to. But my feelings for you have never changed. Please, give me a chance to explain." VY read it over and over, but her wounded heart could not summon the courage to reply. She chose silence, for sometimes silence hurts more than 1,000 accusations. From then on, they drifted apart like two lost souls swallowed by the crowd. VY buried herself in her designs, pouring her loneliness into sketches, colors, threads, and seams. Min drowned himself in projects, one construction site after another. By day, he kept busy enough to forget, but at night, in his small rented room, he often sat staring at his blank phone screen. The distance was no longer just geography, it had become a wall between two hearts that had once burned with love. And so the silence stretched on, month after month, leaving behind a wound that would not easily heal. Many times, VY wanted to text, "I miss you." But each time, she erased the words. Many times, Min wanted to ride through the night back to A with Grave LT, just to hold her and say, "I've never betrayed you." But work kept him bound. And so, just like that, they lost each other. Chapter 5. The Flame That Never Dies. 4 years passed. A with Grave LT was still veiled in mist as always, yet people's hearts had changed so much. VY had become a freelance designer with a modest reputation. She opened a small shop on a familiar hillside street, specializing in rustic, gentle interior decoration. Her shop wasn't crowded, but it was enough for her to live comfortably and nurture her passion. To the outside world, VY seemed strong, independent, and confident. But only she knew that on cold nights, when the wind whistled through the window cracks, her heart still harbored a lingering ache of longing. Sometimes she asked herself, "How is Min now? Does he have someone by his side?" Then she would shake her head, telling herself to bury those memories deep and keep moving forward. One rainy afternoon in June, VY received a call from an old friend. The friend asked her to decorate a newly opened cafe, located right in the city center, said to be designed by a young architect from Saigon. VY agreed, since work wasn't too busy. On the appointed day, she wore a grey woolen hat, a thin raincoat, bracing herself against the cold wind. The moment she stepped into the cafe, her heart skipped a beat. Amidst the unfinished space, still messy with plaster and dust, stood a familiar figure giving instructions to the workers. The same broad shoulders, the same slightly tilted stance, the same deep voice she once knew by heart. It was Min. He turned, and their eyes met. In that moment, the whole world seemed to fall silent. The sound of rain outside, the hammering, the workers calling each other, all faded away. Only 2 pairs of eyes remained, filled with astonishment and a choked emotion. "VY," Min whispered, his voice trembling, as if afraid that the image before him would vanish if he spoke too loudly. VY stood frozen, her hand unconsciously gripping the strap of her bag. Memories surged back, the afternoons by Hung Lake, the times they held hands running through sudden rains, and that night she wept alone in the city crowds after seeing him with another woman. Her throat tightened. She only nodded slightly. It's been a long time. That afternoon, Min asked to leave work early. He invited VY to a small cafe near the lake. The space was quiet, with only the sound of rain pattering on the roof. Sitting across from her, Min clasped his hands together, his gaze never leaving VY. He had imagined this reunion countless times, but now that it was real, he felt as awkward as a boy standing before his first love. VY, his voice faltered. I owe you an explanation. The girl you saw with me that day, it wasn't what you thought. She was just a colleague, helping adjust my shirt before I met a client. I never had the chance to explain, and you misunderstood. VY stayed silent. Her heart ached, but her face remained calm. She had thought about this moment many times, yet hearing it from his own lips still hurt more than she expected. Min continued, his voice heavy with regret. I know I was wrong. Wrong for not giving you enough time. Wrong for leaving you alone to endure everything. So many times I wanted to find you, but I was afraid you wouldn't want to see me anymore. VY, these 4 years, not a single day has passed without me missing you. VY lifted her gaze. In his eyes, she saw sincerity, a burden of remorse. And her heart, thought to have grown cold, suddenly trembled again. She smiled faintly, but tears rolled down her cheeks. Min, do you know how I've lived these 4 years? I tried to be strong, but the truth is, I've always carried a flame inside me. I hated you, I blamed you, but I could never put it out. They both fell silent. Only the rain kept falling, as if washing away old misunderstandings and past wounds. After that meeting, they began speaking again, slowly, cautiously, as if learning to love for the first time. Min still lived in Saigon, but he returned to A with Grave LT more often, always stopping by VY's little shop. At first, VY kept her distance, but gradually, her heart softened. For love, once it has rooted deeply, no storm can easily uproot it. People say there are flames that, no matter how many years pass, no matter how much wind or rain, continue to burn quietly in the heart. And when the right breeze comes, they flare up again, brighter than on the very first day. For Min and VY, that flame had never gone out. Chapter 6. A Promise in the Rain. A with Grave LT entered its long, drizzly season. Rain fell from morning till night, covering the city in a soft grey haze. Amid the biting cold, VY felt an unusual warmth in her heart, because every time it rained, Min appeared at the little shop's porch, holding an umbrella, smiling gently as he always had. They gradually returned to their old habits. Walking together around Xian Hung Lake in the light drizzle, sitting by a warm fire with a cup of tea, or simply sitting in silence, listening to the rain. Their love, once thought lost, had sprouted again, gentle, deeper, and more enduring. Yet life had never been easy for them. One day, Min received a promotion offer in Saigon. It was a major opportunity. He would lead a key project, opening doors for his career to soar. But in exchange, he would have to remain in the city, and might even need to go abroad for a few years. The news left Min conflicted. He recalled the past, when his work had consumed him and left VY to endure loneliness alone. Would he repeat the same mistakes this time? That afternoon, heavy rain poured. VY sat quietly in her shop, arranging a few sketches, when Min walked in. His coat was soaked, rain dripping from his hair. He looked at her, eyes filled with inner turmoil. VY, I need to tell you something. His voice was low, heavy. VY froze. A premonition made her heart pound. What is it, Min? He sat down, silent for a long moment before speaking. I've been offered the position of project team leader. If I accept, I'll be even busier, possibly needing to go abroad. But I'm scared, VY. I'm scared of losing you again. The space fell silent, with only the sound of rain pounding outside. VY looked at him, sadness flickering in her eyes. She understood his dream, the dream of becoming a great architect, creating remarkable works. She never wanted to hold him back, but her heart trembled at the thought of being apart from him once more. Min, she whispered, her voice trembling. I don't want to be a chain that holds you back. If this is your dream, I'll support you. Just don't forget that I'm here, waiting for you. Min's eyes glistened with tears. He reached out, holding VY's small hands tightly. I promise, wherever I am, I will come back. No matter how work sweeps me away, my heart belongs to you. VY, please, trust me once more. VY choked back tears, blending with the sound of rain outside. I will trust you. But Min, please also trust me. Don't leave me alone in silence again. Min nodded, holding her close. They stood beneath the small porch, the rain pouring as if to wash away all past sorrows, leaving only two hearts beating as one. It was a promise in the rain, a promise not flashy, but steadfast, like a lantern in a stormy night. After that night, Min accepted the job, but with a different mindset. He was no longer alone on his journey. Behind him was a woman who trusted and waited for him. And VY, after all her pain, had learned to love again, with strength and understanding. The rain still fell, but in their hearts, the sun had begun to rise. Chapter 7, The Day of Return. 3 years had passed since the promise in the rain. Min had completed his overseas projects. The buildings, the bridges he had once dreamed of now stood everywhere. Success came to him, but his heart always turned back to A with Grave LT, to VY's little shop, the place where he had promised to return. VY, after months of waiting, had transformed her loneliness into strength. She had developed her small design brand, expanded into interior services, and lived happily with the simple things she loved. Yet, no matter how busy life became, a space remained in her heart, one where Min's presence had never faded. One rainy April afternoon, VY was arranging new sketches for a client when she heard a vehicle stop outside the shop. She looked up and saw a familiar figure stepping down. Her heart skipped a beat. He stood there, tall, familiar in every way, yet carrying the maturity of the years he had spent growing. Rain fell on his shoulders, his hair wet, but his eyes still shone with the same tender affection. Min, VY whispered. He smiled, stepped forward quickly, and knelt on one knee in the rain, holding a small bouquet of wildflowers. VY, I'm back. I've traveled everywhere and achieved what I dreamed of. But the place I most wanted to return to has always been where you are. VY froze, tears streaming down her face. She stepped forward, kneeling opposite him. No words were spoken, only the sound of the rain and the rhythm of their hearts beating together. Min pulled VY into his arms, whispering, I promise this time I won't leave you again. No storm, no distance. My heart belongs only to you. VY hugged him tightly, her voice trembling but resolute. I promise too, nothing will ever separate us again. They stood together in the rain, as if reliving the moment they first met 4 years ago, but now their love was mature, deep, and enduring. Rain fell on the roof, on their hair, on their shoulders, but it no longer felt cold. It was as if it washed away all misunderstandings and past tears, leaving only a heart whole, full of love and peace. Min and VY stepped into the shop together, laughing and talking, planning their future. They knew challenges lay ahead, but this time they were no longer alone. Every step, every dream, was lifted by genuine love. By the shop window, the A with Grave LT rain still fell. But in their hearts, the sun had risen, bright, warm, and radiant. Their love had weathered every storm, every distance, and finally, 2 hearts had become one. Sparkles the end. Life may be full of storms, but if love is sincere, patient, and trusting, 2 people, no matter how far apart, will find their way back to each other. Amid the tempest, love is the flame that never dies, and Min and VY are its living testament. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Don't forget to subscribe to support Elena, storyteller, and stay tuned for the next heartfelt video.